Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into, well, a couple of really interesting corporate identity crises.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
Our sources show us this kind of split screen. On one side, you've got brands just reacting to public backlash, trying to manage it.
Right, like quick rebrands, quick reversals, calculated moves maybe.
And on the other side, something deeper. The real cost when a company that says it's values-driven slams headlong into its massive corporate owner.
Exactly. That's where the fundamental conflict lies, the mission versus the money, essentially.
And we have two perfect, very recent case studies to illustrate this. First, Cracker Barrel's spectacular rebrand flameout.
Oh, yeah. Very quick.
And then, maybe even more significantly, the resignation of Ben & Jerry's co-founder, Jerry Greenfield. That one's got layers.
It really does.
Okay, let's unpack this. See what we can figure out about, I guess, the soul of a corporation today. Let's start with Cracker Barrel, because that whole situation, the backlash and then the reversal, it happened so fast.
Like lightning speed.
It almost felt like that get woke, go broke theory was playing out again, didn't it? But maybe with a slight twist.
It did have that feel. And yeah, the discourse around it got, as our sources put it, pretty tiresome quite quickly.
Right. And the twist was this theory that popped up almost immediately.
That Cracker Barrel planned the whole thing.
Exactly. That they intended to launch this, minimalist millennial farmhouse rebrand.
Knowing it would cause outrage.
Generate massive blowback. And then pull a reversal as some kind of elaborate marketing stunt.
To sort of, recommit to their old school vibe and energize the base?
Yeah, revitalize the company by proving they're still about nostalgia. It sounds incredibly cynical if true.
It really does. But, I wonder, should we really jump to clever stunt?
You're thinking Hanlon's Law.
Maybe. Never attribute to cleverness what could just be, incompetence. Maybe they just misread the room. Genuinely thought the minimalist look was a good move.
It's a fair point. It changes the story, doesn't it? Planned stunt versus management panic.
Big difference. Either way, the reversal is dramatic. They issued several mea culpas.
And that video showing the crew taking down the new logo, putting the old one back up.
Right. And people noticed something interesting there.
That the old sign looked pristine, like it was just pulled out of storage.
Exactly. Which, fuels the planned stunt theory again.
And it wasn't just the sign. They're apparently ripping out the minimalist decor inside, too, getting rid of the farmhouse vibe.
Going back to what people supposedly fall in love with in the first.
So compare this to IHOP becoming IHOB for a bit. Was that different?
I think so. IHOP felt much more like a transparently planned, almost playful stunt to sell burgers. It wasn't really changing their core identity.
Whereas Cracker Barrel was messing with the fundamental feel of the place.
Exactly. They risked alienating their actual loyal customers, the ones who liked the nostalgic clutter. IHOP was trying to grab new customers. Cracker Barrel's reversal felt defensive, protecting what they already had.
Okay, so Cracker Barrel is maybe an example of a strategic retreat, planned or panic, against market force.
Yeah, seems that way.
Now, let's pivot. Let's talk about Ben & Jerry. Because here, the conflict isn't just about what the public think. It's internal. It's about the brand potentially fighting its own parent company.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting. If Cracker Barrel was maybe a performance, B&J feels like a genuine break.
So, quick context check for Unilever, the huge conglomerate, bought Ben & Jerry's way back in 2000.
Yep, for $326 million, made the founders rich, obviously.
But now they're saying they regret it. At least one of them is.
Yeah, there's definite indication of regret trading that independence for the buyout.
And this regret has just culminated in something huge. Jerry Greenfield, one of the co-founders, has resigned. After 47 years.
It's massive. And Ben Cohen, the other co-founder, he's staying, but he's publicly backing Greenfield.
He shared Greenfield's words, didn't he? Something about his legacy needing to be true to our values, not silenced by Magnum Global.
That's right. Magnum Global being the specific ice cream division under Unilever. It's quite a statement.
So what's in Greenfield's actual resignation statement? That's key here, isn't it?
Absolutely central. He calls it one of the hardest and most painful decisions. He emphasizes the employees, calls them the soul of the company.
But the core issue?
It's the alleged loss of independence, the independence to pursue our values. He claims this was specifically guaranteed when Unilever bought them.
Guaranteed? How?
He says their social mission was meant to be enshrined in the governance structure in perpetuity, forever.
Wow. In perpetuity. That sounds like strong legal language. Guaranteed forever. 25 years ago. Against a giant like Unilever.
It sounds almost unbelievable, doesn't it? You have to wonder what he thinks he can actually achieve by resigning and claiming this now. Is it a prelude to legal action? Can a co-founder really take on Unilever legally over this?
It seems like a long shot. But he connects it directly to current events, right?
He does. He explicitly says this loss of independence, this silencing, is happening right when he feels the U.S. administration is In his words, attacking civil rights, voting rights, the rights of immigrants, women, and the LGBT.
So he's accusing Unilever, essentially, of forcing B&J to be quiet.
Silence, sidelined for fear of upsetting those in power. That's the act. Forcing the brand to temper its act.
And B&G certainly hasn't been shy in the past. We know that.
Not at all. They had the Kamala Harris flavor, Coconut Jubilee.
I remember a few years back, that statement about the U.S. being built on stolen indigenous land and needing to return it.
That was a big one. Very bold.
But even that had its complications, didn't it?
It did. Our sources point out that a tribal chief then publicly called them out. B&J's own headquarters and factories are apparently on Abenaki land, which they haven't returned.
So it shows the difficulty, right? Even when a brand tries to live its values, the reality under capitalism gets messy.
Incredibly. There are always potential contradictions.
And now, this messiness seems to be focused on this alleged contract violation. Greenfield is implying that Unilever stopping them from certain advocacy.
There's speculation it's about pro-Palestinian stance.
That's stopping that violates the deal from 25 years ago. It's not just about ice cream flavors.
No, it's about whether there's a financial penalty, a legal consequence for suppressing speech that was supposedly guaranteed in the sale agreement.
And the opponent is just enormous. Unilever isn't just some holding company.
It's a global behemoth, and maybe that's why this is happening now. Maybe Unilever feels powerful enough given global pressures to finally push back on that in perpetuity clause, test its limits.
Which really makes you zoom out. You have to grasp the sheer scale here.
Yeah.
What does this internal B&J fight mean when you see who owns them? It almost feels like an illusion of choice for consumers.
It really is staggering. Let's just list a few Unilever brands. You've got Axe body spray, Dove soap, Dermalogica skincare, Degree deodorant,
Liquid Pivy, Hellman's Mayonnaise, Good Humor, Klondike bars, Magnum ice cream, their direct parent.
Vaseline, Popsicle, Tresemme shampoo. It's mind-boggling. The same corporate entity managing Vaseline's marketing also controls the political voice of Ben.
That scale itself almost answers the question, does how can the founders realistically win again?
It puts Greenfield's resignation, his stated pain, into a much sharper perspective.
But okay, let's flip back to the customer side for a second, because Ben & Jerry's is often held up as an example of a brand where the product trumps the politics for many people.
That's true. It's seen as a kind of meritocracy example. People buy it because, frankly, the ice cream is really good.
Even if they don't agree with, say, the company's latest statement on borders or whatever,
Yeah.
the attitude is often just, yeah, whatever. But fish food is delicious.
Exactly. Product quality off is out. And B&J hasn't historically shied away from being political, sometimes very...
Like the Bernie's Back flavor 2016.
Right. Described as hot cinnamon ice cream, a big chocolate disc on top, and a stiff butter toffee backbone. Not exactly subtle political commentary there.
No, but the ice cream delivered.
It did. And speaking of the product, there's that great little fun fact from the sources about why it might be so consistently good, or at least unique.
Oh, right. One of the founders, Jerry Greenfield himself.
He apparently doesn't have a strong sense of taste, or maybe none at all.
So he judges the ice cream based on texture.
Primarily texture, yeah. Which explains why B&J is always so famously chock full of toppings. Big chunks, swirls, different textures going on.
That focus on mouthfeel, on texture, it's a real differential. And maybe that's part of what protects them.
It could be. It makes the product quality stand out.
And maybe that quality helps explain why boycotts against them tend to fizzle. The sources mention their customer base is different from, say, the Bud Light crowd.
Right. A lot of B&J consumers know they're buying from a woke company, maybe even disagree with some of it, but they buy it anyway because it's the best vegan option or just the tastiest pint in the freezer case.
So for a big chunk of their market, the product quality kind of overrides the political noise. It gives them a certain amount of leeway.
Leeway that most brands just don't have. The ice cream itself buys them permission, in a way.
But as we're seeing with Greenfield walking away,
that permission clearly has limits, especially when it potentially clashes with the global stability, the bottom line of giant parent corporation.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've taken a deep dive into two really different kinds of corporate identity struggles today.
We have. Cracker Barrel facing that market backlash, doing a very public, maybe strategic, maybe panicked reversal to protect its core brand.
Its nostalgic identity.
Yeah.
And then Ben & Jerry's, where it feels much more fundamental. A fight for the soul of the brand under massive corporate ownership.
Yeah, culminating in a founder resigning, claiming a breach of contract, a loss of that guaranteed independence.
So that leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to chew on, something building from these sources.
Right. If a giant conglomerate like Unilever owns everything from Vaseline and popsicles to Ben & Jerry's.
And the founder of Ben & Jerry's alleged that the independence they were promised forever in perpetuity is now being taken away.
What does that really tell us about the power of a social mission, especially once the big money changes hands?
Does corporate stability, does being part of that massive structure just inevitably dilute or even crush advocacy, even when that advocacy was the brand's unique selling point, even when it was supposedly guaranteed forever?
Yeah. How much power does that promise really hold against the weight of global capital? Something to think about.